This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
The battle began with the outbreak of war, but it was with the launch of the Western Campaign that Britain began to face the worst crisis in her history. While for Germany, the 10th of May 1940 marked, inextricably, her crossing of the Rubicon, the point of no return. In these 5 critical months, the battle encompassed warfare on land and at sea, as well as in the air, whilst the British and German governments fought their own political and propaganda battles, as well as one for intelligence, all of which had a profound impact on the unfurling events. In isolation, these differing aspects only present part of the story. Together, new and surprising perspectives emerge. Truly, the Battle of Britain is an incredible story, and even more so when the full picture is revealed. Rarely has there been a more thrilling episode in history. Part 1. Miracles. Chapter 1. First Flight. Sunday, the 5th of May, 1940, a little after 2 that afternoon. A warm, sunny day over much of Britain. But above Drem Aerodrome, a busy grass airfield some 20 miles east of Edinburgh, a deep blue sky was pockmarked with bright white cumulus, drifting lazily across the Scottish headland on a gentle breeze. Perfect flying weather, in fact, which was just as well because Pilot Officer David Crook could barely contain his excitement any longer. Dispersed around one end of the airfield, beside the concrete perimeter track, were the 12 Spitfires of 609, West Riding Squadron. Elsewhere, further along the airfield's edge, were more Spitfires, as well as various other aircraft, including a number of Harvard and Magister trainers. Clutching his leather flying helmet and parachute, David followed his friend and flight commander, Pip Barron, from the wood dispersal hut towards the line of Spitfires. Ground crew were busy around several of them, including L-1083, a Mark IA, and one of 4 that had been delivered to the squadron at the end of the previous August. David had missed their arrival, although he had seen the squadron's first 2 Spits land at 609's pre-war base at Yeadon in Yorkshire on the 19th of August, just a few days after their last peacetime summer camp had ended. Flying aging Hawker Hind biplanes had been grand enough fun, but the news that the squadron was to convert to Spitfires had been greeted with euphoria by all concerned. Like any man or boy alive, David had wanted to fly one of these beautiful machines ever since he had first heard about them. With its powerful Rolls-Royce Merlin engine and sleek curving lines, the Spitfire was an ultra-modern machine of barely imaginable power. Moreover, its heritage could not be bettered. Supermarine, its maker, had won the Schneider Trophy, the award given to the fastest aircraft in the world a decade or so before for the 3rd consecutive time. Although an auxiliary Air Force squadron made up of weekend flyers, 609 had been mobilized shortly before the outbreak of war. Yet while some of the more experienced pilots had headed straight to Catterick in anticipation of the beginning of hostilities, David and 5 other auxiliary pupil pilots had been left behind, first to kick their heels for a month at Yeadon, and then to be sent to complete their flying training. David had finished his training just a fortnight before, and his leave the previous day. Of the 6 that had been sent to flying training school, FTS, only 4 were now returning to 609. 2 of them, Gordon Mitchell and Michael Appleby, had driven up to Scotland with David the day before, having all met up for lunch in Leeds. They had stopped again for dinner in Alnwick, before finally arriving at Drem in time for reunion drinks in the mess. It had been good to be back amongst his old friends once more, although there were a few number of new faces too, including 3 regular RAF pilots and 4 members of the Volunteer Reserve. At first glance, they had seemed decent enough, however, and David had been pleased to notice that, despite a new CO, the old atmosphere of 609 was little changed. And Drem seemed like a good spot, with enough hangars and activity to whet the enthusiasm of any keen young pilot, and plenty of golf nearby, as well as tennis and squash courts. Furthermore, Edinburgh, with its massive pubs and entertainments, was just a short drive away. Best of all, however, was the prospect of spending many happy hours.